There we go. There we go. All right. Now today we're going to break down. We're going to check out two charts today. So this will be a quick live where we're just going to show you how to get into two different communities, two different charts, do some reviews, and kind of like we'll watch these communities as we move forward, and see how they grow. So let's see here. I'm going to wait for A-Shock to come in here. And we'll take a look at these two charts here. So the first chart that we're going to have is GMMM. Good morning. So this chart here, this one actually started off about 3 days ago. I'm going to click on here real quick. And always make sure you have the right address. So we've already collected the address from their socials and so forth, where they're at. So here we go. So for me, first thing I like to do is I look at holders. I like to see, I like to get in early, and then progress, right? So anytime there's a pump, so there's a couple sitting. This is what we mean about getting into a chart. So you had your initial start here, where the chart came on live, and then there was a pump that came here. So let's go ahead and measure this pump out real quick. If you guys don't know how to use your tools on the left hand side, you can just slide down here, get what's called the long position, and then you can just measure out.
I am
back.
I just shared the link in a space that has all the community from the GM Cat, and then I'm also going to share your link in their Telegram so I can get that community involved. And you can go ahead and pull up the chart, and we'll get to work.
Okay. So we're going with the GMM good morning one first, right?
Correct.
Okay. So what I see here is, so I pulled it up here. Yeah, it looks like it launched 3 days ago. Or at least on the charts where we can see it. So I see here, what I was trying to go over here is I see the first part where started off, had its little initial move to the move, which is just this first move here is always the coin being released, and then it has to be adjusted down to get all the coins set up correctly, and then we see the first pump. Now the first pump did 176%, so it's been pretty. I mean, this is what we talk about, the ability to take initial investments or half of your initial to protect your positions, etc., etc. So this did a 150% move. So you should have been able at this point to take your initials out and then now have what's called house money to support the future moves of the project. Because remember, the part is to get yourself into a project, protect some of your initial investment, and then support the project as it grows. So right now, that's where we're at right here. So give us a little background on here.
Yeah, so this token was launched a few days ago. I think it was Sunday night. It's obviously called GM. The idea is it's a cat named GM that pretty decent influencer on X, Casper. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And the whole premise behind this, the lore behind this is, can you hear me, BC?
Yeah, I got you.
Alright. So the whole premise behind this is the cat was saved from the streets of Manila, and now she's living the life, And everybody loves a good cat token, and this has real life lore behind it because the cat's real, the cat's doing well, and like I said, she was saved from the streets of Manila. Now she's bringing cuteness to the blockchain, and everybody loves a good cat token.
Well, that's actually pretty interesting. So right now I'm on Dex Tools. So we're gonna pull up. So on their socials, they don't have their X or their Telegram in here. Let me see here.
I'll share the TG with you in your DM.
Yeah, throw that on the Telegram. So normally in this situation, it would have been where where did you originally find this token?
So the dev behind this is pretty big influence on X. He's in a lot of spaces. And like I said, he essentially found this cat, homed her, and she spends pretty much all of her time hanging out with him. And he's on spaces a lot. He's in different TGs. He's a marketing specialist. This guy, and we're trying to build a community around this cat, and it's pretty organic. There hasn't been any type of bots involved in this. There was no pump bot when it was on pump. Once it bonded, there hasn't been any type of volume bots or anything. This has been all organic on the X timeline. A lot of rating, and something really cool that this community decided to do. Rather than raid influencers, they're rating reply guys that reply to big influencers. So say an influencer on X that has 100,000 followers does a GM post. Instead of rating them, they've been rating the people that are actually GMing back. And what this does is it gets the reply guys interested in joining the community because, they all of a sudden getting rated by 10, 20 people. Instead of rating, again, that big influencer, they're rating these smaller reply guys. And I think it's actually got a lot of traction. It's a cool method. And I think you get a lot more organic community building this way because there's people that are looking for projects and base communities, and this is a different tactic that was taken, and it seems to be working.
Okay, I like that. I mean, that's something you definitely want to take a look at because, as we move, like this is what we were talking about building a community of people that are more active and more into crypto like yourself. And it's kind of like, that's what we're looking for. If you get the whole point of the dojo, a meme coin hour is to educate community and people coming into the crypto space on how to what we call work your bags or build your bags or support your bags, right? Everything you invest in you need to support and so forth. So there's so many ways to do it. It's interesting because they're going after the people that go out and actually support things already and then seeing if they're interested in what they have, which will cause them to actually show support. So it's a pretty good idea. So let me grab the Telegram here. We'll swap over. I got the Telegram. Perfect. All right, so let's slide into Telegram here, and let's go view their group real quick. Now, do they have an X on this, or is this just Telegram?
No, they have an X account as well.
Okay.
It's G. I think it's $G with 4 M's. And the meme of the kitten is PFP. And
is that the actual cat? That'd be cool though.
Yes, that is the actual.
So the little meme they're doing, that photo of it's like an orange cat.
Yep, little orange and yellow cat.
That's hilarious. All right, let's see.
Yeah, and what's cool is it's the cat's real life. So there's. I think the dev has even posted videos of him playing with the cat and stuff like that. So, as far as people that are looking for like a lure or just looking for something real, like this isn't just like something somebody pulled out of their ass. This is like been thought about. It's a real life kitten. And again, the cat's name is GM. And what is prevalent on the Spaces timeline or X timeline here is GM. Everybody says GM all over the world. So that's the whole idea, is just never stop GMing. And I think it's one of those metas where like it's kind of unfadable because GMs just get said all the time, every day, especially on the X timeline. Those of you guys that are on X a lot or on Twitter, whatever you want to call it, everybody says GM. So it's very easy tactic to be able to do raids, corresponding with saying GM. So I think as time goes on and this community builds, I could see this one really starting to pop off. And it was a pretty good pump. I think yesterday, they pumped up to about 200K.
Okay. Yeah, so chart-wise, let's take a look at there. So I like the concept. I mean, the whole thing here, even, at the end of the day, I think people get confused, like they become like the original. If you go back into crypto, you have what's called Bitcoin maxis. You have the XRP army, and you have all these coins and Ethereum people, right? And they were so dedicated to one coin that they couldn't move to another coin. And meme coins, started off kind of like that way where it's like you only talked about one meme coin. And I think we're in the evolution where, understanding that it's not about the coins, right? Those are just projects, those are just products. It's the communities, right? It's the people that are in the communities, right? And I think by reaching out, like what we've been talking about, is touching other communities and touching other things. So where communities support each other, so it becomes more like a neighborhood. You know what I mean? Where each project supporting, what we are, which is blockchain, right? So you can have multiple coins that you're looking at and communities that you're looking at, and you're enjoying their what they're doing, right? So this is one of those feel good communities where you can kind of like hop in. It's a cat thing. It's a real cat. So, this has the super organic feel here. And that's kind of like the lure you were talking about. So they did have a nice little pump on the 17th where they did a 200x. They did pull up, they bounced again. So this is, this is kind of an interesting chart, now that we're kind of getting the look at it. Because I was going to say, most of the time a chart doesn't, this is kind of like, most of the time there's a big pump, a big pullback, and then you go into what's called a channel, right? And a channel is simply, it's what investors look for. It's just an area where there's constant top to bottom situations, and then you say, okay, it's in a channel, right? So it's called a parallel channel. So if I drew a parallel channel here, right, it would look like this, and then the top we would bring into this section right here, right? So you have the top, the peripheral lines in the middle, so you top, bottom, in the middle, right? So this is basically, it's starting off in a channel, right? Which is, you can look at a bunch of charts, they don't look like this, right? This is not a normal looking chart. This is where they came out, had a small top, came down, had their bottom, had a spike, pulled back down, didn't break through the top of the channel, went to the bottom of the channel, went back to the top of the channel, and then kind of like bounced back to the middle. And then from there, it went back up to the top again, and then it made it back to the bottom channel. And that's kind of where, it's an interesting thing that's organic, because it's a chart that doesn't look like any chart that I've seen when it comes to meme coins.
Yeah, and obviously with like there only being a few days worth of charting, obviously you're only going to get kind of like a perspective if you look at like maybe the 1 minute or the 5 minute chart, just because you get like obviously more of a history there. One thing that I do find really cool about this particular community is that they're staying in spaces all day since the making of the token, and when they're not spaces, they're in the Telegram VC. They're pushing that major buy bot trending. I think they were trending number 2 or 3 the other day, which is really cool. And they just have some people with some influence power behind it, where they again, they're staying in spaces. I know the dev was doing a lot of airdrops to people that were staying active, specifically on those spaces, helping with raiding. They were doing raids in the actual space. So just like a lot of things that you like to see from an investor standpoint. Obviously, you should always do your own research and only risk what you're willing to lose here. But when a coin is this new and you see this type of like organic marketing, and they're not doing like some weird like shit with the buy bots where they have like the buys coming in, but it's through a bot and stuff like that. Like a lot of times, you see that, and then you'll see like boosts being paid for,
right?
Like that.
Well, that's what I mean. That
like a slower cook.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I was saying. Is like this chart is starting off in a channel, right? Meaning that it doesn't have a super huge jump that came out from a bunch of jeets or influencers pushing the coin and creating a massive pump and then dumping down and creating a massive pullback, right? And that's kind of where, that's what I was saying, is like it's a chart you normally don't see like that. And so we're going to go through a little piece here of just how to purchase so you guys understand. So on here, you just go grab the GMMM, copy the address, and then up here you open up your little section, go to Radium, and then pull up your Radium coin, put it in there, and then you can just swap it out. So my wallet's always connected there. Once I hop on, I connect it. So that way, if I do go to swap a coin, I'm not connecting my wallet while I'm trying to swap a coin. So connect your wallet, then go look at your coin, so that way when you need to swap, and then unconnect your wallet when you're done. So yeah, I mean, so that's what I was saying about this coin, is that it's not showing any type of real influencers manipulating it or pushing it higher for no reason, then dumping on their own communities. So it's looking really organic here. This is kind of like a solid organic type chart here. So what you're saying makes perfect sense. And this is what you see here. So yeah, it's definitely a feel good one. I like the concept, so we definitely want to keep an eye on this. I would say, this is the type of type of coin where you're not going to get too, the way the chart's set up, you're not really you don't have too much risk here, because it's all organic and the cat's real, which is kind of unheard of, and it's just it's a story.
One thing I decided to do here, BC, too, after our first couple sessions of pulling up charts, is I was like, you know what, I really want to pull up charts of projects that I'm crossing paths with on spaces, in PCs, and where I see they have a lot of organic community members that are just like
okay,
making memes, doing GIFs, all the type of stuff that you like to see.
Yeah.
Typically, if the right eyes get on this at the right time, these are the type of projects that really start to send hard, because the FOMO sets in, and just, again, like the building of the lure. One of the other tokens I had sent you that we're not going to pull up the chart on, and a lot of people have been talking about it on the timeline, that unicorn fart dust. I actually was tracking that coin hard in the beginning, because a YouTube streamer who's like 55 years old, who had never launched or even bought a meme coin before, but has been heavily invested in gold and silver, decided to launch his own coin, call it Unicorn Fart Dust, did it on his live stream, and it just started to send. And within literally a few hours, it went from 7K market cap to like 18 million, and today it's sitting at about $250 million market cap. Absolutely changed the lives of this guy's community, for sure. And it's just all over the timeline now. People are talking about it, but that's not the other chart I'd like to pull up. I'd like to pull up the chart of the baggy community.
And
I sent you the link tree as well for that, so you can look at all the socials. And I sent that to your I DM'd that to you directly, not Telegram.
Okay, perfect. I'll pull that up.
No, I might have sent it to your Telegram.
Yeah, I have it in here. But I like how we decided to go. So I like what you're doing there, because that's the direction we're heading. And I like we'll do the unicorn fart coin on Monday, and then we'll dig in a little bit deeper there, because that's an interesting scenario. You know what I mean? Because I saw that I briefly kind of went through that when it came out. And I thought it was like, I thought it was funny, because it's like unicorn fart. And I was like, oh, it's a funny meme coin, But the whole thing is like, you just never know what's going to just go, what's going to send, right? And we'll go over, I've been digging into some AI, some bot calling AIs, and, some more stuff that's coming out on the road. And we'll have a channel where we start getting into more meme coins, because I was tracking this bot, and I'll pull up an article for you guys on this bot, and I'll post it. We'll go through it Monday, and it's made like $4 million or something in the last 2 months or something. It was crazy, and I've been tracking it. It really just buys every meme coin, and it waits for a movement, and it sells and it moves on. It's pretty interesting what it does, but we'll get into that on Monday. A deeper review. Let me see what the date is on Monday, because it's the holiday, guys, so we're just kind of get through. So probably what we're trying to do is get through the Christmas, and then we'll have where we're consistent with this show after the new year, when we don't have so many people traveling, so many holidays. But yeah, I think Monday's the 23rd. We should be able to get into something on that
Yeah,
day for sure, because that's our big buy day for Ninja Coin. So if you guys don't know Ninja Coin, you definitely want to go check that out. On the 23rd of every month, we do a big community buy. So that's something that we're implementing coming into now and moving in the future. All right, so let me pull up Baggy real quick. So we'll come back and check out Good Morning. If you guys haven't picked up your Good Morning coin, you definitely worth taking a look at. I'm gonna snag a zero point 0.5 of it. I'm gonna show a little bit of support to the Good Morning crew. And then what we're going to do is on that Good Morning crew, we'll do where we're going to have some Ninja wallets, some wallet giveaways. And I'll just do a giveaway where we start giving away some of these. All right, so now the next one is called Baggy. So first thing you do is, obviously, let me show you here on the Telegram side how we get an address here. I'll show you. He sends it to me, and then we're going to pull it up. And you always want to make sure you have the right one. So here's your Baggy. Take your address. When you pull it up, make sure that you're finding the correct address, right? So, and the other thing is when you see it, kind of like multiple coins with the same name, make sure you're looking at the addresses. A lot of times you have multiples with the same address with different days, is because one is when it came from Pump Fund and the other is when it moved over to Dex, right? Or Radium. Right, and that's the start of not buying it on Pump Fund. It's the start where you can buy it on Radium. So this one is about 2 months ago. Looks like they're all the same there, so we'll take the top one. And you can see here, this was the one that when it came from Pump Fund, it says this token is now listed on Radium. It gives you another link. And then you click that link, and that's just going to be that second one that they had originally. I just wanted to show you guys that so you're not like thinking that you just jumped into a bad coin or something. That's just how the system's set up. Once it goes to Radium, they give it a new coin address listing on there. All right, so Baggy. Let's take a look here. So Baggy came out 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think within that, right around that time frame, and one of the main reasons why I wanted to pull up Baggy is this guy literally is in spaces pretty much as often as I am. He hosts a lot of spaces. I know he's somewhere either over in Europe or somewhere near there. And he's a developer. I think a tipping bot in his Telegram, and it's actually shared in a couple other Telegrams. And he's just really trying to build this project from the ground up. I remember originally crossing paths with him in spaces when the project was at like a 12K market cap, and I think they're sitting around somewhere like 40 or 50K right now. They might have had a few pumps up and down, but the guy stays grinding. I know he's got an active community because I see the little Baggy PFPs in spaces. It's like a little frog with a bag. So the idea of it, it's just a little frog meme, whatever. But I know the developer is, like I said, he stays in spaces. I know he's developing different things. He's a very charismatic guy, nice guy. And I actually was in a space earlier today, Rooster space, and I seen Baggy down in the audience, and I was thinking of one of the charts we should pull up, and I was like, you know what, this guy's putting a lot of work in, and I announced it in that space, and I told him that we'd be pulling this chart up, and I sent the DM to him. So whether or not he ends up joining down in your live or in the comments, I did let him let it, So I haven't really spent much time in their Telegram, but I know that, like I said, on their link tree, all their socials are listed. And a very active guy. And he's got some cool 2D animations and stuff too. If you look at his X timeline, so they definitely have some artwork going on. And again, just all positive things that you like to see in a meme coin that has a low market cap like this.
Which is, the whole thing about and this is perfect right now. These are perfect. That's one thing A-Shock always brings you guys is he's delivering the coins. And this is knowledge here, right? This is because this is where I don't think most people understand how, there's so many options to make money in meme coins and support a community and get your what we call moon bags in over the next, 6-8 months or a year, and then you're going to hit strike gold here somewhere. But this is the organic, the beginning of how to find these hidden gems. But more importantly, what no one's teaching you and educating you on is the next step to meme coins, which is the communities who will all eventually come together with the best people in the communities, the people that go out, the people that chill, the people that raid, the people that talk, and all these people that are putting in this work. And eventually what's going to happen, we're going to bring them all together and we're going to do a project where the solid communities are all under one roof pushing something down the road. So just so you understand, you're witnessing the beginning and how it gets there and where it goes. This is the adoption of meme coins into communities, and mass adoption will create what's more like a community hedge fund, which is what we're trying to create here. And then when you push a project with everyone actually pushing in the same direction, it's going to change lives, right? It's going to be crazy. So I want to point out here, there's a couple things here that's pretty cool, and this is where this project's perfect to kind of where here's a developer pushing, and he's in, what Ashok was talking about was just grinding and being available and just, being a dev that's, interacting, right? So you can see we had a launch on 10/14. It always pulls back because it's where they're changing coins and they're moving their marketing around and everything like that. Then you get into a channel, right? So this is what I was talking about the last coin, which was interesting, because when you have organic coins, you can see where there's no JEETs or anything like that, or you see where there's no special influencers in there, things that you have to be aware of, right? Everything that you invest in, you have to understand who's investing with you and how to play the game that's being played. Otherwise, you get played, right? So you can see there's a channel here. That's kind of what the channel would look like. And it kind of went into that channel for a while. And then there were some moments here. Now this channel was, it's about a 200% top to bottom move, right? So it's understanding basics from the top bottom of that channel to the top. It's a 200% move, which means halfway through that channel you can 1x, right? So there was plenty of time to get in this coin here, put some money in, take out at least 50% of your initiative, if not all, and then leave the house money in here to show support, right? And this is where you're learning how to put money in a project, take at least half of it out, leave the rest in there until it does something, or if it does a 2x, take your entire initial out and then leave the house money in there, and then just go in there and show some support by liking their comments, reposting their Instagrams and or their exes, showing up on showing up for support, right? Because you got a house money in there. You got to work your bag. You got to earn your bag. Put in some work there, and then something could happen. And this coin, there's another example of something could happen, because what we see here is from a month, of time it ran through. It started to build momentum about the third week moment here on 11.5, and then all of a sudden it just went to a position where, in that the pump that came out of there, it delivered a 500%, a 5x gain, right? Now what happens here is a lot of people who are holding and waiting for this 1 month move, and they got it, they sell off, and that's where we see this big decline here, because a 5x is a big move, and people are going to, who have been working their bags, they're going to take their profit. I mean, that's kind of what that's kind of where we're at. It's an interesting scenario where it's part of what people are doing. So even if you would have followed this project and you've seen the little pumps here and you're like, oh, this is building momentum, and you bought this dip here, this little pullback, as people say, this is where most people who are just tracking something and they see a small pump and a pullback, I mean, this pullback here gave 185%. So there's another opportunity where you could have at least made 150% profit, meaning that you could take your initial, take half of your initial, and then leave house money, right? Now, this is where we need to educate and teach people, because you get moments that once everyone sells and kind of gets out of there, this is where the chart goes back down to its, support level, which you can see here is the top of this channel. And then it's up to the, the team, the core team, the developer, the people who are building, to continue to grind this out, because It's not a overnight thing, and this is where community becomes important, right? This is where
I can also I remember a little tidbit that the Baggy developer shared today. Those of you guys that might be listening in on the live on replay or whatever, but this particular coin, I think the developer said that if you hold 2.5 million tokens, you'll be given some sort of reward as well as an NFT that he's going to mint, and there's just going to be some other things that he's developing over time as far as like passive income for holders of the token. So it's cool. He's already kind of like working on stuff like that because a lot of times you don't hear about projects developing stuff like that until they've been around for some time, and where they've only been around for a few months, I think that's pretty cool of him to already be working on something like that for holders. And it's smart because your whales are going to be whales in the beginning, and that's kind of where he's at. It's like he's at the stage where he's building that floor of people that are going to be holding the floor as they make their way up here. And I think it's important that projects that type of stuff because it adds to the lore and it gives you an incentive to hold.
So how many tokens? Do you remember how many?
I believe it was 2.5 million tokens he said you needed to hold to have that particular benefit.
So that would be currently about $100. So right now,
I think that's what it was.
yeah. So right now it looks like it's going for 95, $96. So currently it would be $100, and then he's looking at a 0. I think on Solana, yeah. So 0.5 of Solana. It's kind of what I always invest into, like little projects, and that'll give us 2.5, actually 2.6 million tokens. I'm gonna go ahead and swap that out, and we'll show a little support in Baggy. So hopefully we get minted an NFT here. A-Shock, double check that for me in case we need to buy more. But this is kind of where, the reason why I'm grabbing a little bit of this is because, we've seen the initial momentum push from 11.5 to 11.17, and then, topping off on the 17th, and then everyone sold. But then they came back and they showed support on the top of the channel. It went to the middle of the channel, and then there was another spike here on 12.9. So it's interesting to me that there's, not small spikes. Here's another 600% spike after the coin has been out for, its full 2 months, right? So it's constantly showing that there's something, it's getting interest, right? There's another 6x. So if you would have bought that dip or that bottom, or let's say you left your house money in there like we talk about, there was another point where there was another push to a 6x, right? And that's what we talk about, where you by not being greedy and by being a community invested meme coin supporter, which is, you got to realize that communities or meme coins and crypto in general, the entire point behind it is community driven, bartering and sharing and creating profit together, right? So once you develop and understand the system and the mindset to it, you can realize that there's enough money here for everybody. And if you continue to support and grow, and you can get into projects that continue to move and have the support, then you give the opportunity to the developers, the artists, the smart people behind the projects to actually create with the money that's coming in, to do something that you might never have seen before, right? Because it takes money to build something, right? So here's a 6x where you could easily took, on the house money, you could have took a 3x on your house money, which would have been your initial came out, house money stayed in, there was a 6x, you sold half of the 6x, you took 3. So let's say you put $100 in here, right? Your $100 bag doubled, you took 100 out. You left the $100 in there. It just did a 6x, 600. You took 300 out. Now you're up $300 on this project, and you got, the house money still inside the project. So even though it went back to where you got in, or back to that lower level, you still just house money. It's just $100 sitting in there. That's house money, right? And you didn't lose 300 when it went back down because you didn't take all the profits. It's because that's the community support, right? So your job now is to, put a level here and say, what, the next time I'm taking profits here is going to be when it goes above the last 6x, and it does something like another 4x or 5x, because this is community support time, right? You've already made your money. Your goal is to make a double up on every project, and eventually hit for a 3x on the project and move on, right? And leave house money in there to show support, because you never know where this will go, but you're also supporting the developer, the cause, and the people that are working hard for the bags. And you're that person who's like, you know what, thanks for helping me here, and you become part of this community, right? And that's the next thing of building this understanding. So that's where you have to start realizing, by you're not losing any money, you've already made money, you can leave the rest of that in there as a moon bag and support that project, and who knows what happens in a year. Yeah, who knows, right? But that's also being fair to the communities and to all the people out there that are investing in meme coins and people and art and ideals, right? And that's where we have to show support in the crypto world and be okay with leaving that house money and leaving the rest of that in there and just letting it do whatever it does, and say, let's see where we go, right? But yeah, these are two really good projects that we can see in ways that it's profitable out there, right? And we're gonna dig into that other coin struck gold, right, and just went crazy. And we're gonna dig into that chart next, probably on the 23rd. We'll come back on Monday, and we'll take a look before Christmas and do our big ninja buy on the 23rd. We always buy on the 23rd of the month, and we'll go into unicorn. It'll be perfect for that. But yeah, these are two perfect projects of understanding, like, growth, through organic with the cat, a real life cat, and a project where a developer is actually out there, bringing, more stuff and constantly creating, which is what crypto is all about. You never know what's going to happen, man. Well, appreciate it, Ashok, man. I mean, these are two good projects. We're going to keep eyes on there. Double check to make sure how much we need to hold of the, if it's 2.5 million, we'll hold that, and then we'll go from there and get ourselves a, you say NFT?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said there's going to be multiple benefits, but one of them was definitely an NFT that he talked about, and I'm almost certain that it was 2.5 million tokens.
Okay.
So I can confirm with them. I was just trying to listen to the space on playback, but there's too much feedback, so I'll have to do it later. But if it's a different number, I'll DM you later.
Yeah, perfect, man. I mean, I think, like I said, it's a very very good projects as far as what we're looking for, and then the breaking it down, how to support the project after you make money on there, realizing that it's not about taking every dollar out of a project. It's about what leaving and building and supporting a community that and a developer and people that are working hard, giving them an opportunity to actually do more. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, so we
it's part of the reason why when I'm sitting in spaces, a lot of times I have to wait to speak. So why not listen to what everybody else is saying and take note of the ones that continue to show up, and then do your own research. Jump into Telegrams, look at the socials, check out the chart, and ultimately, when I find a couple projects, I'm going to bring them to this show with you, and we can continue to highlight them. And hopefully, this helps educate people in the space on what they should be doing, and then, maybe one of us are going to catch lightning in a bottle, like this unicorn fart dust that I told you about, and then everybody can benefit, because I watched one wallet that put a $700 buy-in on that chart at the beginning, and now that wallet's worth over $11 million.
It's insane. And you what's so crazy, and we're going to dig into this on the 23rd, is that once people learn what meme coins really are, and what community to crypto is, and why crypto is here, and it's the bartering system, and it's the wealth, it's the the community wealth building system, right? Once they understand what it actually is and how it operates, there will be many unicorn fart dust, right? Because that's what that was. That's when a bunch of communities got in there, a bunch of people, and they're like, this is it, and then it just blew up, right? but they didn't. There's a formula inside of there, right? And that's what you have to break down.
Talk about it 'cause we'll be able to pull it up later.
Yeah.
One thing specifically that I think made this particular thing just take off the way that it was this guy already had a considerable following, and they were all gold and silver maxis that never had really invested in meme coins before, and I think they might have rode his coattails on this one, and his whole community has now benefited because he sold half his bag at 25 million market cap and is delegating 20% of that to his community.
Right. But see, that's what I'm saying. The community all came together and decided to buy and hold. And then they sold at small certain levels, and now they're putting that back to the community, right? Which is driving it up, right? There's a lot of money out there. I mean, you're talking, meme coins are all over. I mean, meme coins are Thailand, South Asia. You know, there's huge markets out there that move meme coins, right? So when something like that happens in, where's he from? The U.S. Where's that guy from? For Unicorn.
U.S.
Yeah.
I forget where.
So when the U.S. comes in there,
US bank.
and they put together, you know, U.S., U.K., and they put together something, but they actually do it correctly, all these other places that, you know, those markets come into play. And then you can use profits to really drive the product, your coin and community to the next level. You know, those are the keys those are the fundamentals that everybody else is missing, right? Everybody, you know, they don't understand that you have to continue to support the project, because if you keep, you know, undermining the chart, then people don't buy the chart. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be something where it's like, oh man, this is real. Right, you have to respect the chart, and that's something we'll go into down the road, is understanding how to build charts properly so that you can entice people to get in, right? But there's keys. It's almost like, you know, you ever look up like the 10 good habits of billionaires, right? It's always the same. Everyone who's making a lot of money, everyone does the same habits, you know. So look that up if you have time. Go look up the 10 great habits of millionaires and billionaires. Right? And then just try to get down the first 5. Right? But yeah, thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for coming in. A-Shock, these are 2 great charts. We'll dig into this, and then, like I said, we'll come on the 23rd, take a look at Unicorn, and then really start digging into charts like that and things like that, because that one is more interesting to me than everyone else, because it's a U.S.-based one. Right? And that's what matters, because that's different than the Asian markets and South Asian markets. They've already mastered meme coins, right? That's what they do, right? So to break it down from the U.S. side will give us the inner perspective of how we can dig into some things that, you know, that need to really be focused in. But appreciate it, man. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, I appreciate the time and just jumping in. And like I said, as we do this more, it'll, you know, just come together a lot. I was happy to talk with the Baggy community on Spaces, and I talked to the GMMM community, and I'll continue to try to coordinate it like that, just so we can get some people while we're doing it live, you know, from their community, and ultimately more eyes on these projects. Hopefully we can maybe check back in on these projects in another month or two to see what happens. And, you know?
Well, that's the goal. I mean, the goal is to drop, you know, 0.5 in every project, watch it grow, support them, and then more importantly, you know, watch the growth of, you know, the adoption of meme coins into the adoption of the community, because the community is really what moves meme coins, right? I already know this because I've been in crypto for a long time. The only thing that makes a project explode is the community and the followers, right? And everyone seems to always miss that point, and it hasn't changed. That's why it's a very important thing. And this time around, we're going to take the time and teach people of how to, you know, make the special sauce. Because maybe if you understood on how things happen, you would stop, you know, fudding your own bags and ruining your own charts. And then you could be in parts of more communities and more projects that actually do a lot better, because the communities are working and people are getting more educated And the only way to really be a good investor is to be educated. So that's the whole goal of this, man. So I hope you guys learned something today. Other than that, take care, good luck, God bless, and all that. And Ashok, we'll talk like always, and we'll get some other things going, and we'll get some for the 23rd, brother.
Thank you
All right,
so
man.
much.
Appreciate you
It was
guys.
awesome listening to you guys. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thanks for listening, Max. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Max is our main student. We'll be checking with her, and we'll see where she's at in 6 months.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because then she'll be buying lunches and everything, and taking care of the tabs. Appreciate you, Max.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, guys.